All right, who wants to make a monument sign? It's been a minute. Haven't really needed to make a video in a bit, so don't really need one on this either. You guys are getting good at this kind of stuff. Just a few things I want to point out, kind of some of the choices I made so you guys can see what's up. But otherwise, just going to be a big old monument. You want to keep your sort of reference to Las Brisas. Actually, a couple of things about this is just very similar. So you got like a main cabinet with 2 sidecars, that kind of thing. So, yeah, nothing crazy. Just a few things I want to point out. So let's get into it. Let's do the lay of the land. So you got your reverse channel faces. You got 2 little addresses, and you got 2 desert waters and a couple of drops here. These will be regular channel letter, but we're going to weld to the face, do them reverse channel style. We got 2-inch tabs. You'll have your main cabinet. That's your main width, kind of middle part there. You got some power box stuff there. We'll go over all that. I gave you some lift burns there for your 2x4 supports. You got all your jigs. Got a Mark 6 SOPMOD. Go over how the difference is on that. Then you got your south side. You got your north side. And you've got your Jiggys for those because they didn't fit on the same page. So when you put all these together, you'll look and you'll see you got your different Jiggys. You got your skins for your main cabinets. You got your tops and your sides. And let's see, I'm going to have to go back up to this guy here. So you got your south side, your south and your north skins there. Look for those. Let's see. Got 2 Mjolnirs, 1/4-inch 4x4 post. Then you got all your tough acts, not Pal Sun, all your tough acts for all your letter backers there. And you got your 2 faces, first shop, whatnot. Look for your little marks there. I think JR might have already sent vinyls. If not, they'll have to get vinyl to you for that. So for this file, that's it. This is pretty much all monument all the time. But as we talked about, we went ahead and switched over to me sending you returns. Yeah, look at that. 60 strips? No, don't worry about it. You hooked up. So let's go over to the channel letters there. So here's all the returns. You'll see that I have little reference marks everywhere. Jose, I know you're not going to watch this, but if you watch this, make sure that all these inside reference kisses get made. And I also have each of the letters marked on there. So you'll have your R, your W's, your T's. So when this comes off, there'll be a lot of washing and stuff, but we'll go over this and it's going to make it so much easier. You even got your drops all laid out. So it's going to be slam dunk for you guys, hopefully. So we'll go over all that. So let's get to the monument. Again, you got all your letters here. Let's get to the actual main cabinet. So this is nothing you haven't seen before. It's just going to be relatively large. You've got your seams here. I'm doing that new method, the cold and hot seam, where you're just going to rivet that together. And then your jiggy actually has what you need to hold it together there. So you're just going to put the jig in and make that one piece. And then the jig will be ready for your verticals there. So you got your top, you got your bottom, all your pieces here. You know, like I say, it's nothing you haven't seen before. Just for your jigs though, your main jiggy cabinets. That way, when you have a big pile of these things, just look for the raw square corners. That'll let you know that this is all for the main cabinet. The main cabinet is symmetrical other than the power. The power obviously makes a side that's, has different jigs than the other side. So everything marked power obviously will be the power side. So you got that guy there. You got your power side here. Install. I have it to where the address letters are over here on this side, and then the power is going to be over on this side. So that way the power kind of stays away from the street, and people won't see it as much. So anyway, so let's go over to while we're here with power. I went ahead and added this new thing to the Mark 6. So we're going to give this a try. So when you go to put the inside piece in, it's going to poke through this slot, and that's going to give us a tab out for a permanent connection for bonding. That way this thing stays bonded and grounded. So, and then where the actual power supply attaches, sort of similar to Las Brisas. That's why I was kind of saying the Best Western sign. You kind of have this pull out piece here. You go ahead and make a connection at this point, and then you go ahead and make a loop that's long enough, and then you can go ahead and permanently attach it there. And that way this thing will, you'll tuck right in there, and it's going to look nice, nice and sexy, and keep everyone safe. Now, because, you know, as usual, we're dealing with angles, I made this little kind of hat that's going to reach over and grab our normal Mark 6. So pretty much everything other than this tab thing sticking out, and the hat is narrower so it fits. And these guys here are a little bit different. This is otherwise a Mark 6, but just there's a few things that make it a SOPMOD. So, but this little hat thing, you're just going to bend this up 1, 2. You're going to put the top in, you're going to put the bottom in, and you can just rivet this together. And then this is just going to lodge directly to the door. So it'll be like this little snout thing sticking out. That way, when they go to put this on, it's just going to meet up barely with our Mark 6, as long as everything goes nice. And that'll keep the bees and stuff from getting in there. And it'll give us access to the switch, but it'll help protect from weather and things like that. So I even got a little drain hole right there and everything. So you don't see us though. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for that. And then notice that you'll have some power special jigs and stuff over here that are kind of, you know, by themselves. So you'll just put those pieces in there. I got clearance for the rivets in the back. And so it should be all good for the power there. But otherwise, you got your cut list right here. You can take a 240, slice it in half, plus or minus is fine. That's going to be your top and bottom sticks. You got your usual 3 pieces right there. That gives us a nice good lift point. I'm sure this thing's not going to be light. So, but otherwise, I think everything's good there. Got your doors, got your panels up top. So this is nothing that you haven't seen already. So we're good there. So in order operations though, go ahead and get this all built, get your frame all done, and then you can go ahead and lords on your faces as well. That way you're set for the sidecars. Just in case you're geographically challenged, you know, we'll have the street on this side, we'll have the power on this side. South faces the shop, north faces you know, Mesquite, Lowe's, Ramon, all that up there. So there is a north and a south to these things. So the south side faces us, and you can see where the power will be over here. I've got the power, and then the north will be on that side. So go ahead and get this welded up, get it all done, and go ahead and skin it and get it ready. And then that goes to our sidecars. So again, this is like basically building another monument sign and slicing it in half and attaching it to the other one. So you can see where you have that little bit of outline there. So these jiggies, just so you can keep them different, these jigs here all have rounded corners. So when you're going through and you have this big old pile of jigs, everything round, just go ahead and put them all together. And that's going to go ahead and be your sidecar. Front jiggies are round. And then you'll see the back jigs, each and every one of them have a hard chamfer here, and they're all going to have a 0.22. They're all going to have a 0.22 in them. And that is to allow you to secure these frames to the main frame. So you're going to go ahead and build these frames up. Make sure that all the back jiggies that have these holes that are shaped like this are to the back side of each of these frames. And then, of course, the front sides go to the front. S is for the seams, because these pieces are going to be a little bit wider. So look for these wider pieces here. So you can see how this frame piece is this wide. These holes are pushed over a little bit. So just look for the S on my chest. Those are going to be where the seams are. And so look for the S pieces here to make sure that'll be a little more smooth. That way you're like, oh, AJ messed up. No, he didn't. And then you've got your top, you got your 2 line, and you got your 3 line on the bottom. So everything with the 3 on it's to the bottom, everything with the 2 on it, and then everything without anything is just the top. So go ahead and build your 2 side frames. There is a north and a south because again, the 120 doesn't mirror. So you couldn't just take this south face and flip it, because we want the addresses to be opposite of each other and towards the street. So that means, unfortunately, that this does change the frames a little bit. So you'll have your power on one side, and you'll have your street side with your address facing the street on the north and facing the street on the south. So go ahead and go through everything that says South. That's all for the South. So just get everything together. But the jigs are the same. So there's no actual difference in the jigs. But make sure that you get south to south, north to north. Now, one little trick I got you guys here. All of these frames are going to have this little doohickey sticking out. And it's going to have a 165. And it's going to have a notch on the front. That is to allow you to temporarily Cleco this frame onto, so you can see where that circle is right here. You can see where that circle is there. You can see where that circle is, et cetera, et cetera. On each of these frame parts, I went ahead and made those little things for you to Cleco accurately to the main frame. So you can see where this little circle is going to be right there. This little circle is right there. All of these circles will Cleco to the main frame all at once. Then you're good to go. Then what you're going to do is, remember the back jigs have those 2-2s. Those are ready for you to shoot screws all the way around. Just shoot self-tappers through the jigs. So that way it's nice and strong. And that jig has got a little gap right there. It's going to pull it tight up against that face and really make it go. So go through first and use these circles to temporarily Cleco. Then go ahead and shoot screws through each of the jiggies. And then once you have those done, if you so choose, you can go ahead and take Clecos out and you can shoot more screws through each of those holes. Those holes will match up to framing. So if you look here, each of these holes goes into the mainframe actual frame. So of course this isn't going to go anywhere, but this whole smaller, sidecar is going to be hanging off a skin. But if you go ahead and back shoot where you had those Clecos with screws, that's going to take frame to frame. So that way this thing's never going to go anywhere. It's not going to be light, because you're going to have all these reverse channel letters hanging off this thing. You're going to have, 3 pieces of skin hanging off of it too. So these aren't going to be light. So let's make sure we build them up nice. But, you guys always do a good job. So that's it for that. And then once you get the frame built and the faces are off, then you can do all that screwing. And, if you want to lords them on there as well, it could probably do both. If you put a little lords and Cleco and screw everything down, then once you have all that done and everything's all set, then you can go ahead and skin it, hit it with your skins. Again, make sure you got north to north and south to south. That way everything's all nice. And then once those are all set, it's pretty much ready for paint. So, okay, so let's touch on paint. I was talking to Jim, because we are going to have reverse channel letters glowing against paint as usual. We're going to have issues. So Jim was saying that we're going to go ahead and text coat the light front part. The sidecars are going to get text coat. That way they can be latex. And then he wants the darker outer part to be a Matthews satin finish. So it's like a 2-tone. So we'll have texture latex, and the dark brown kind of main cabinet body, we'll do a Matthews sexy there. So, but that'll take care of any sort of back glow. We shouldn't have any chatter. So we should be good to go there. So that brings us to the channel letter. So I don't think, I think that's it for the monument sign. You guys have got that down. So this will be new for you guys. I'm going to give you a printout of each of these letters, but essentially, let's look at the E. So when you're reading these letters, we can go to the channel letter returns, what they'll look like when you see them. So let's grab an E here. So you'll have an inside reference kiss, a little dot. That's going to light up to a node on the face, and that's going to give you kind of a reference point. You're still going to use your same kind of blue marks, but you shouldn't need as many, because you're going to go through and bend these first. So just like on our regular Oh and I Know monuments, you're going to get a reference kiss just in the little foot break. You don't have to go to the big break, but in the little foot channel letter breaks, still line it up nice, bend it. And then that'll be kind of your start point, because the bend is going to be on point. Then you can kind of work over, and then you can kind of see where these are justified to one side or the other. These marks let you know which side goes to the face when you go to weld it. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So you see that E there. There you go. So you'll see I have the reference kisses that'll be on the back of the letter, and that will line up with that. So you can see, and of course, this doesn't do any good because in real life, it's not going to have a green outline, but the green outline corresponds to here and here. So you can see where this little reference kiss is going to line up with that reference kiss. And you can see where that's where a bend starts right there. So you'll know that you'll have to just kind of tap that and kind of make it a little round. But this right here, the other one is reverse bend. So when you're reading the runes here, the chicken bones, you see an R next to the bend right there. And I understand it's confusing because there is an R letter, but don't let that get you. But when there's a little R next to the bend there, I try to avoid reverse bends, but you have to do it on some. So you'll see the A, that's the inside of the A here. You'll do a reverse bend. So just go ahead and line up the opposite, but just kind of line up the groove of the score as best you can to the teeth, and then just clamp the side, bend it up, and then that'll be your light blue right there. That's your light blue. And then this little guy here is purple. He fits right in there, just like you normally do. I gave you a little extra on both sides to weld to, and you should be, you know, Fanny's your aunt, Bob's your uncle. So that's kind of how to read those. I have everything scribed, so look for all the A's, put them together, and then you'll kind of get an idea of what goes with what based off the sizes, and you know, you'll be able to tell, because again, this dot here will go to this dot, so it can't go to this piece. So even though that this piece here and this piece here are going to be the same, there's only one way for them to go, because this dot will be closest to this dot on the face. So, and then you can start to bend, but this little dot here will tell you where to begin. So you almost don't even need the blue mark yet, but between knowing where this bend is, once you bend this bend on this A, this automatically goes right here. So this is set. You don't have to worry about that. And then you can just sort of eyeball bend it between this bend and this little scribe mark. Just put a quick little bend like that, and you should be home. And then you're going to be like, boom. So now I have a code here to show you how I wanted it to be, what's long and what's short. So when you see a green arrow right here, so any green arrow means that is the return that I have going long. That's the winner. The other one is the sub. Then the other one's dom. So as you can see here with this A, the orange piece here is the winner, because I have it in orange right there, and I have blue. That one's losing. So the orange is going long, and I have this orange going long, and I have the green because it's a known. From here to here is known, so I have that one set as the sub. So this guy's going to go long. This is going to go. Same thing here. Same thing here, because you're coming in off a bend, I gave you an out. So that one's long. Expect this piece to just fit inside just right. So look for those. I'm going to give you printouts of these. So each letter will have a printout, and that's sort of your legend. And then just follow the dots and follow all the chicken bones. So, but you'll see the W's, a few more pieces there. But you can see where like this will line up and that'll line up. You got your bend marks. So just go ahead and go through and bend everything up with the break first. And then kind of get an idea of where things are based off of this. So when you go to bend it, go ahead and overcook it as much as you need. But essentially, you know, all these bends, just follow it along and everything's all laid out for you. So, and then just follow the guide here that'll tell you which ones go long and this ones go short, and just my method of madness there. So, and just look for the R, the reverse there. As far as the face, it's the exact same thing. You'll see the water drop reference there. You go ahead and clamp this side, bend it up. And then I went ahead and made the inner pieces long. I gave you this much extra on both sides because that way, you know, you give you the most amount of like, you know, play. But go ahead and start from the middle because I have your UL hole. Go ahead and start this guy and line it up as best you can with this reference kiss, and then just work your way out. And again, you can still make your blue marks like you used to, but your piece is set. So it should help you out quite a bit. So that's it for those. So again, nothing's too crazy about this. Just, you know, a few things to point out. For the O, yeah, for here, the tab here is what you clamp. And I went ahead and clearanced it a little bit for the polycarbonate. Hopefully that's enough for you. But again, you're just going to look for which side has the little kiss. And that's the part that matches up to the face. And again, the face will have the kisses on there. So, but that'll be it for that. You already saw the number 2. So, okay. So that's pretty much it there. Yeah, all this stuff is face down for what it's worth, except these are face up. So,
Okay, so that's it for Desert Water Agency. Again, I'm usually on site now, so if you have any questions, hit me up.
Check the technique. Check the techniques.